Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is, well, we're gonna let this launch, although it's not gonna do anything. It's gonna give me nothing. So it's gonna say hello Android. So the first thing we want is actually a layout. So we want a layout. The way we do this is, well, it's right here, but I'm gonna remove it for these purposes. So we're gonna create a directory here. We're gonna call it layout. So we're gonna put all our layouts here. We're only gonna have one, so it's gonna be nice and simple. So basically, what this is going to be is just a simple layout resource file. And for our case, I'm going to make our thing here, a root element. For now, linear layout doesn't really matter. And I'm going to call it main. So it's the main layout. And so it's going to give me this. And basically here, what I do is I design my screen. We're going to leave it probably like this. So this is a linear layout. For now, we're going to have as an image. So what we want is, well, this is just your screen. And essentially this splits the screen into multiple, let's say, interface parts. So there can be buttons, it can be text, it can be images. What we're going to do is we're going to add an image to it. But we're not going to do it this way. We're going to do it programmatically. But we do need something to control where the image is actually going to go. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use a frame layout. So I'm going to grab this frame layout and actually put it here. So all I do is drag and drop it here. And now we have this, which I'm actually going to make smaller. So see, I can control it. And I'm going to put it for now about here. So this is how our frame layout is. And I'm going to give it an ID. The ID here on the top right is what you use to call this in your code. So this is how you find it. And I'm going to call it main frame. For some reason, the underscore is not working. Okay. Come on, main frame. Okay. So this is going to be the main frame. Oh, actually, wait. We named it the wrong thing. How did that happen? Doesn't matter. So this has an ID. Perfect. And again, I'm going to make it smaller because I didn't like that. And save it. So what this is an XML file. You can edit it like this and it will edit the XML. If you go through all of these options here you can have a split so you can see both the screen and the XML file. Here you can see just the XML. But we're not going to care too much about it for now. So this is a starter code. This is what it has as your activity. So the first thing you need to do with it, well, this doesn't really do anything right now other than just pop the text that says hello. So we obviously don't need that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be doing, well, we said we want a way to basically fill out an image. So we're going to start with that. And the way we're going to do this is, well, first things first, you will see that obviously we're not exactly getting what we want here. So we created it like a layout and we want a layout to be shown. Right now it isn't being shown. In fact, I'm just getting this. So how do I get the layout? Well, if I go here and here it says set content, I don't really want that. So this set content thing is this. And for now, I'm going to comment it out. Although I'm going to probably delete it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to say set content view. And basically what I need is to go into my resources. So we have these folders here under res. So these are our resources. So in order to access these, what I do is I write a capital R. And then after that, I see all the folders that I have. It says layout. That's the folder that I just created. And here we have our layout. And here if you just do one more full stop, you have main. And this is it. This will set your view. So now if I just restart that and I rerun it, it should actually not have that, and it should just have an empty screen. Perfect. Obviously, we don't want an empty screen, but you know, so we're going to remove this because we don't need it anymore. And so the first thing that we're going to do is, again, just have a frame here. So we're going to do this programmatically for a few reasons. The first thing, though, I'm going to do is I'm going to go above this. So this is the onCreate, which tells it essentially when it creates this activity, what it should do. We're not going to change anything here. All these complicated things, we don't care about them. So above this, in our class, which is our main activity, we're going to actually have some variables. And our first variable is going to be our, basically, image. In Android, these are image views. So all we have to do is, well, we have to say late init var. Late init just means that the value of that variable is going to be initialized, or the variable is going to be initialized later on. It's not going to happen from the beginning. So basically, we don't need to give it a value right now. And that's kind of good because it's an image, so we shouldn't just, there isn't like a default value for it. So we're just going to name it, I'll name it new view, because why not? And so this is the name of the variable. And when I use a colon here, I can tell it exactly what type of variable it's going to be. And in this case, I want it to be an image view. And that's it. Obviously, this doesn't really mean anything right now. So we do have this variable, but it doesn't really exist. You can see it's never used. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it meaning. So to do that, we're going to, let's say, just be fun and say custom view. So this is where we're going to create our custom view. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to say, well, new view must equal something. So it's going to equal image view. And basically what this needs to create one is, you see it says context. The context basically is simply this in this case. So the context of this activity. So no reason to understand what this is. That's how you do this. But this is going to be an empty view. And it won't really do anything. That doesn't really place it in the layout. So this main layout doesn't have this. So how do we place it here? Well, we have our main frame, which is really nice. So what we can do is we can say, well, val main layout. And we can say, well, doesn't say layout. We can say that it equals the frame. So we want to find specifically this frame view. Remember, in here we have this thing here that we call frame layout. So this thing is what we want to find. And we can do this. We can say find view by ID. And here we can give the type of the ID. So these two arrows basically will give you these smaller equal signs. Will give you, or smaller or greater signs will give you these. Basically the ability to just say, well, that's what I want. I want a frame layout. I want an image view. I want something specific. So I'm going to say frame layout because that's what we're looking for. And here we need to find the ID because we're saying find view by ID. So we need an ID. So to do that, well, our ID was R, like before. So now our resources, again, we have to say R. And then you can see we have something called ID. So that will hold all the IDs that we've actually added. And you can see that the only one that exists is mainframe, which is the one that we named. So now, again, it says never used, but it doesn't matter. So now we have our main layout, which is our main frame. Now, we need to add that frame to that view. So we say main dot layout, believe it or not, add view, and all we can add any kind of view we want, whether it's a button, whether it's anything. And here in this case, we are adding new view, and that's pretty much it. So now, if I restart this, I'm not sure if it's going to be white or not, but we're going to find out. Hopefully it's going to be black and we can see it. It is not. Well, anyway, the point is now it should have this view that we just created added to it. However, this doesn't have any values, which is a bit of a problem. And also we can't really visualize it. So we can't really know whether these are correct or not. But before I do anything, I want to add a few things, because sometimes it will put it in weird locations in the layout. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be adding just a few parameters. I'm going to be saying new view dot. Well, we're going to start with layout parameters here. And first we're going to add the width. Basically, this image is just empty right now. So this image view doesn't really have, it just has some default values. So we're going to say, let's say, I don't know, width 1024. So let's just make it square. And let's say layout parameters, height. So we're setting the dimensions basically, 24. This is fine. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a scale type. So I found that these kind of work well. You don't need to know what any of these are. Basically, they're parameters that allow us to perhaps better visualize this in multiple phones. Actually, center crop here. These seem to work. That doesn't mean that they're the best. If it looks weird on your phone, you might have to change it. If it does not, then you won't. And this is basically the position. which we're gonna have to kind of experiment with. And again, new view dot set background color, and here it's gonna be color dot magenta because we like magenta. Let's see now. Basically, what I'm trying to see is whether this is actually being rendered here on our app, because maybe we're not adding it properly. And you can see that we are. So now we are adding programmatically an image to it. And that is really nice. So this is the first step. And for the next step, we're going to actually start writing values to this because, well, we're going to have to be changing the pixels in order to render our ray tracer. So we're going to see how we do that.